And I put it in an article after. It was
Just
like,
playing it safe.
I thought it was like the Jets playing against the Patriots. They might be ahead, but if Brady's got the ball in the last minute, we know we're going to lose.
Just like the last
And he
game.
stopped playing offense.
He stopped
In
playing.
fact, after
His
seeing
third was
it,
terrible. His third was
You
horrible.
think he quit though? You like,
I'll tell you a
he
story.
made that decision, I'm not gonna play offense.
Yeah, if they thought they had won.
Yeah, he was right.
And Pete King called me up after Sandy, because you couldn't poll. I was trying to poll for Linda McMahon in Connecticut. We tried to poll for the Senate race the Sunday before, the day before Sandy hit. 2/3 of our sample was senior citizens. I had to throw it out. They were the ones, everybody else was on the move, getting out of town.
Yeah.
But after Sandy hit, Pete King calls me up and he says, there's nobody out here. There's no presence. There's like, you know, a lot of people don't have electricity. Nobody has electricity, nobody has gas. There's, you know, friends of mine I live up in Rockland now, and friends of mine who were state troopers, they were issuing them, you know, assault weapons and telling them to go down and stop the looting. And, you know, so there's nobody there. There was the same thing in New Jersey. And so I'm calling up to my friends who are running the Romney campaign. I'm like, he needs to come into Long Island or New Jersey or Staten Island. And, I mean, Bob Turner's house burned down.
Yeah.
In Bridges Point. Mike Long, the conservative party chairman, his house burned. I'm like, he needs to go in and do what they did to us on Katrina. Come in, what a mess. Where is President Obama? Stop fundraising in Nevada, get here and help people.
Governor New Jersey was hugging them.
The Romney people told me we're not going to win New York and New Jersey anyway. To which I said, well, Monmouth Ocean County's a Republican county. Staten Island's a Republican county. The areas that got hit,
Right, Republican
Nassau,
areas.
Suffolk, I mean, those people, you will appeal, you'll send a message nationwide that you care about us, and he doesn't. And they were clueless. They just didn't come in. It was a mistake.
Then the other question was about the voter fraud. How rampant do you believe that actually is?
If they can get away with it, they do. I mean, I
It
just,
could be
you
10%
don't even know.
vote.
They don't know.
1960.
In Democratic districts, they, East New York, heavy blue, deep blue.
We don't
50%.
know. I think part of the reason that the Trump campaign won is there was enough vigilance in places like Pennsylvania and places like Wisconsin where Governor Walker is, and Michigan where Republican Governor is Snyder. I think, and you know, you look at the Republican governors in states like states where Republican governors where they actually say, hey, it's not an inconvenience to produce voter ID.
Right.
You know, so that if you show a driver's license, you show something like that, so that somebody can't vote for you. By the way, I know, like, years ago, in '89, I worked in Jersey City for Jerry McCann in a re-election, and we were going through to get out the vote, and I said, okay, we're at 8 o'clock, the polls closed, we bring all the volunteers back. They're like, no, you leave your poll watchers there. I said, why? He says, well, the incumbent mayor would have his people, the inspectors vote for everybody who can't. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. So, but that was a time-honored tradition in New Jersey at the time. And there's places, we've seen elections 4 years ago, there were precincts in Cook County and precincts in Philadelphia.
100% people voted.
More votes
110%.
than registered voters. And you're like, how does that work? You know, so.
It's a substantial problem.
So, you know, the states that don't purge their rolls, because President Obama, they don't require you to show proof of citizenship or whatever before you, or of identification before you. Right, it's an honor system. We don't know. We just don't know.
Actually,
How about things at Rick Scott in Florida?
What? Yes.
So into the future, what do you think of the debt problem?
Of the
The
what?
debt, because the Reagan era, they had only like $1 billion or $1 trillion of debt. Now we have $20 trillion. Will Trump be able to actually do all this initiative with no money?
You know, I think the mainstream media gave the president and the Democrats a free ride on that. And the Republicans, part of the reason why the Republican establishment didn't matter. is
Okay,
'cause-
Boehner, they had the Boehner
Right,
thing that
right.
passed
So
it, they pushed it way out till, now it's gonna be right in the beginning in
Yeah.
April now.
We're the
I think
ones,
they passed it out 4 more weeks.
the only way that you get rid of the debt is to grow out of it. And I'm a pollster, so I'm not a policy person. So I deal in campaigns and polls, and I tell people that, you know, policy is substance. I deal in substance abuse. But I know a lot of smart people. And there's people like Larry Kudlow, who's, he wrote a great column over the weekend for those of you that follow him. He's an economist, he's on CNBC, and he has a radio program. And Larry came up with an idea that a lot of these European countries have extended their debt. It's like you, if you had a mortgage on your house, I mean, Obama's mortgaged us to the hill. We're about to credit card loan, right?
Right.
So how do you get out of it? There's two ways to get out of it. One is to extend the time that you gotta pay it off. Now, the bad part is over time, you're gonna end up paying more interest, but you got low interest rates. So why don't we have a 50-year bond instead of a 10-year bond? We're good for it. You know, I'll leave the bonds to my kids. But this is a Wall Street finance thing. So you can extend the term of that debt. Now, you do have to stop spending, which one of the greatest things the Republicans did was sequester. It frustrated Obama, and it's got Washington frustrated. Because they've actually cut, and you'll hear Paul Ryan talk about, like over $500 billion have been cut from what they consider, because they don't do zero-based budgeting. They do, the budget next year is supposed to include certain increases, so we got rid of that in a way. And the other thing is, the most important thing is that Donald Trump understands, you gotta grow the economy. You can't grow it 1 or 2% a year and get out of this mess. You gotta go back to the growth rates of Reagan and the 20th century, which these kids today have never, the millennials have never seen. They don't understand prosperity.
Right,
They've grown up in a society where we've been at war since 9/11, and which is a long time, and we've never had prosperity since then. So you gotta, where the economy's growing at 4 or 5%, and real jobs that are good, and people are back in the workforce, and it pays to work and not look for public assistance.
That's right.
And so what we've got to do is grow the economy at a 4 or 5% rate, which they've got two great things that in Trump's plan. One is, which is amazing, because when we've asked it in public opinion questions, and not the Trump campaign, but other clients, the corporate tax rate is 35% in the United States. One of the clients that I've worked for before is, who's the Prime Minister of Canada right now? People know?
Trudeau.
Very good. Who's the guy before him?
Stephen Harper.
Good. You guys are not normal people. You guys are definitely weirdos. You're sitting in the basement on a Sunday in Brooklyn. You know, Harper I used to work for. I've known him since the 90s. He was a leader of a conservative group up in Canada, a small C conservative group, National Citizens Coalition. He was a right-of-center conservative. He got elected. I did some work for him in 2004 after he lost his first race, saying the Canadians were just testing him. They wanted him to run again. Well, when he got elected prime minister, and I saw him one time, he says, you know, one of my campaign promises was I was going to cut our corporate rate from 16 to 15%. Just a point. And he did it. And he says, I don't know how you guys can charge 35. So if anybody been to Canada, Toronto?
Yeah.
Toronto's booming. And Buffalo, Rochester, 2 hours away. The healthcare works, because the Canadians want to come over. Money want to come over.
Minnesota.
If you're dying, you drive over that border. But outside of that, what's the biggest difference? It's the corporate tax rate. And people get that. If you say it's 35 here, it's 15 there. Mexico doesn't have it, they have a VAT. Ireland, it's 12. Britain, they're going to 17%.
What was it under Bush?
What was it under Bush? 1035.
Oh, what?
He never cut it.
Uh-huh.
So you want to know why, you know, granted, Trump made a lot of hay on the fair trade deals and NAFTA and all that kind of stuff and fixing the deals. The biggest incentive to corporations, I mean, was it Cook who's the head of Apple? He can't bring money home. His shareholders would string him up. He's got to leave it in Ireland or wherever because,
Ireland is one of the lowest, I think.
yeah, it's 12%.
But I heard that they have economic problems there now.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have more because if we lower our corporate rate to 15, you're gonna stay here. You wanna keep carrier here? Lower the corporate rate. The other part is the personal income tax rates. They're getting ridiculous again, where Obama creeped it up and Trump has a good plan where he wants to go to 3 brackets and that kind of permanency in lowering it, you'll have the same result as Reagan had, where you'll create jobs again. Do those 2 things.
Right now, we have a situation of full employment in the United States. The unemployment rate is the lowest it's been in many, many years. I think it's 4.6% now. And companies are looking for workers. they cannot find qualified workers. So how is Donald Trump gonna grow the economy? Is he gonna have to build more bridges between the United States and Mexico to get some of these people over here? I mean, where are these,
First of
how's he
all,
gonna do it?
you talk about fake news.
Yeah.
That unemployment, let me just, that unemployment rate is fake
It's
news.
fake.
No, seriously, they have manipulated that number. The real number is what they call U6. U6 accounts for the number of people who have left the workforce that stopped looking.
By 94.
If you stop looking, if you're on welfare, or if you stop looking for work, they take you out of that.
Right.
Plus, they've exploded the social security disability to keep people on that. And when Obama passed the stimulus, if you took stimulus money, guess what you had to do? You had to stop workfare. You had to stop your workfare program. So what's happened is, we have the lowest participation rate in decades in the United States since the Depression, of people who are eligible to work that are participating. So within our borders right now, you have people, how many people do you know? I'm like 60 years old, I turned 60 years. How many people do you know in their 50s and 60s say they're retired? They got laid off. They can't find jobs. They're working off the books.
What about part-time jobs you counted as employed? You work 3 hours a week.
Right. And people working multiple jobs. So what I'm saying to you is that propaganda from the mainstream media in the Obama White House, that we've got the lowest unemployment rate, that Americans are doing great, it's a lie. It's a lie. And the thing is, and the other part is people who know when you can't, if you leave your job and you're trying to find another job, and by the way, in Brooklyn here, New York City, parts of New York City, we're better off than the rest of the country, right?
Yes.
If you go other parts of the country, you lose your job. It's really bad. You can't find anything comparable. And the other thing people are upset about is they haven't gotten pay raises in years. So this year was like the first year in years where that median income thing went up a little because people started to get some pay raises. But we've had, since 2008, it's been flat. And actually since 2000, my friend Larry Cullen will tell you, since 2000, people haven't gotten pay raises. They're still working at the same levels. And with all this debt, our standard of living is declining. And we just exist because we're still better off than the rest of the world. But it's like our standard of living and generations of Americans, I know when I'm in Pollster, people don't think their kids will be as well off as them. Their kids don't think they'll be as well off as their parents. We got to give them hope that the standard of living can go up and things can improve for them. So, so I think one of the great things about Trump is he was more in tune with the average person on that. And Hillary Clinton was tied to Barack Obama and that stuff that, when we ask people if the country's still in recession, 6 out of 10 voters still say yes.
Yeah.
That's it's a terrible mentality.
On election night, the two states that I was most worried about were Florida and North Carolina. I knew he had to win them to win the election. You just said in your presentation that you were confident you were going to win those states.
Right.
Why?
Always.
Because of, well, we do a lot of polling in both states, but what it was we knew that the Cuban vote had fallen back in for Trump in Florida because Obama did some pro-Castro stuff even before the guy died. And towards the end of the race, so that had fallen back in for him, and that helped a great deal. Plus, we thought we were going to get a good turnout in Central Florida and the Panhandle, and we were going to do very well in those areas. And
North Carolina?
and now there's another thing in Florida, the early vote. Because so many people in Florida vote early, we were doing better than Romney had done by about 100,000 votes. So, because in Florida, you got party registration. So every day, we know how many people vote absentee in mail, and the state party does a really good job keeping that stuff. So you knew whether they voted mail or in person, how the Republicans were doing versus the Democrats.
And the primaries.
So that was better. North Carolina, they also have voter registration, it's the same thing. And the analytics in both states said the electorate was older, more independent, more Republican. There were 10% fewer African Americans. There was actually 2 weeks out, it was 20% fewer African Americans, because the guy's not Obama. That's why they sent Obama up and down North Carolina with Michelle. And they did cut some of they did get it down to, but it was still in the final weekend, it was 10% less than it was 2 years before. So if you have fewer younger voters, fewer African Americans, Florida, there were more Hispanics, and that was a danger signal because the Hispanics who weren't Cuban we're still coming heavily against Trump.
Oh.
So even though we did better than Romney had done, 2-1 they're going against us. So, so there was still some concern, but it was offset in other parts of Florida. Like on election day, literally it was on Sean Hannity's show, and I got reports that we were worried about turnout in the Panhandle. And we were basically, we had Donald Trump calling into radio programs, and post things on Facebook that day.
I heard that. He went to Pensacola twice.
Right, saying go, post our, we had him doing a post saying go out and vote. So we were telling people, take that post and send it to all your friends. And, so that we got that turnout. North Carolina, it was just, we were doing better, and it looked like we were doing well in the polls there. Kellyanne was doing the polls in North Carolina, and Fabrizio was doing the polls in Florida, and you know, from what we knew, we thought we were gonna win both those states. And we thought we had real good shots at Michigan and Pennsylvania, as well as Wisconsin, which is why at the end, we scheduled Trump to go into those states. And the minute, I was on a conference call with the other pollsters, the minute he did, Hillary went in and she's scheduled to be in Philadelphia the night before the election. I said, if anything tells us about what their polls are saying, that's it. They were worried about losing, correctly so now, in retrospect, about losing Pennsylvania and Michigan. So, yes, sir.
Well, my name's Andrew Schiff, and I think one of the things that Black Hillary lost is her inability to connect with people. And I thought the most telling thing was that after the flood in Louisiana, Trump went down and actually stood by the truck with Pence and got goods at it. She didn't show up at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I just thought to myself, Hillary does not connect with voters.
Right.
She does not connect to the average person, and she doesn't like people. And how much did Louisiana affect the other parts of the country? If there was such a poll. Since if you polled anything after that event,
That helped, it definitely helped. I mean, he really won on his change message, when you look at the post-election thing. A lot of people still thought when you throw in California, New York, because they kept throwing stuff at Trump
yeah.
on his character and what he said, his
Yeah.
comments. And,
Well, I know that people were saying, there was a video of people there that were saying, we know you'd come, Mr. Trump, we know you'd come, you'd be here, and he was there. Because I think what happened is a lot of backlash, the way the campaign was made, and all these things that happened in the media was made every person in the South to be racist, or every white person. And I think it affected people, we're not racist, we don't like Obama policy, but it doesn't make us racist.
right.
And I think that was part of another backlash.
No, but you're right, that was a big coup and a plus for us. It was a big mistake for Hillary not to go there, or President Obama until
Yeah.
later. He came in after Trump, so.
Yeah.
Tony, you had a question?
Yes, John, thank you. What can we do, because, this is a heavily Democratic town, and we are trying to, build up our parties here, and so we have a lot of young people. We have Avery, we have Batya, we have myself, and we want to build it up, but the Democrats here, they're very, very.
Entrenched.
Yes. I mean, I've gone to battles with them, and, they get really aggressive, and, I think they're disconnected and not understanding a lot of issues and problems, and it's very hard to communicate with them. What can we do?
I think the one thing that matters is, for those of us who worked in New York, when Republicans win in New York, it takes a lot of good Democrats to elect Republicans. So you have to develop Democrat rejection. So when they fail, when it's not working, then you have to be willing to engage them. It's not about us. You gotta create Democratic rejection, and you gotta accept Democrats for Ramona, Democrats for,
Right.
next year, there's no reason that we can't beat Bill de Blasio.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who's
And
gonna run again? The Republicans have to field a candidate. I like Joe Loda as a person, but the Republicans have to field a viable candidate.
right.
Yeah.
And that's
And
the
you need
issue.
somebody that's expensive, it's hard, and it's like 4 years ago, I worked for John Katsimatidis,
Yeah.
full disclosure, so John's thinking of again, but Rudy didn't endorse him. Rudy was very popular among Republicans then, so he kind of delivered the primary for Joe Loda. But Joe had to beat de Blasio, and de Blasio's got a record now. And when it was John
Very
By the way,
good.
John, who I still love, I think it's a nice guy. You gotta win in the outer boroughs, and you gotta be able to go toe to toe with them. And the big issues will be crime. People don't believe the police stats.
Right.
You know, I mean, you're shaking your head. I do polling full disclosure for the PBA.